Okay, so we're going to look at a topic that we love discussing: habits, good habits and bad habits. People who we know, and we all have examples of those within our inner circle, outer circle, family, non-family members, where you can see people they're just always focused, they're dialed in. Then you have someone on the opposite end of the spectrum, and they're just neither here neither there, floating around. For me, when I was growing up, I remember hanging out with a bunch of guys where it was a mixed bag of tricks here.
Hmm.
You had some guys when we would get together to play hockey on the weekends, they were getting ready to go to post-secondary and do this, and you see them 15, 20 years later now, the guys who had that mindset, I want to be here, they had a reason to wanting to be there. They had those habits ingrained.
Hmm.
Then you had the other guys who fell on the other side of the tracks where just never ever got tracked. They were always in those bad habits. We have to go to the smoke break. Let's go have a drink. Let's go to the club. Let's go to the bar.
Hmm.
It's not. It's all fun and games when you're a bit younger. You start to get older. That's the same habits that they're still in.
Hmm.
How are we dealing with that? Going from good habits to bad habits, and the toxicity that lies within.
Well, like you said too, is that the habits multiply, right? So something very seemingly trivial, like smoking cigarettes at 15, can multiply to having a cocaine addiction at 25. And the reason being is that some people are going to talk in the audience and go, oh, cigarettes, cocaine are different. But when you're doing one habit, you're usually meeting people that are kind of weird,
Yeah,
right? So, for example, let's say you're 15 smoking, you're at the smoke pit. Who else is smoking at 15? Guys that come from messed up homes, guys that are like, they're got a couple screws loose. And then eventually your company just becomes increased in losers. These guys multiply, and as time goes on, they get to more bad habits. So, like, one bad habit can multiply and it can compound to something horrible, right? I mean, I knew a guy, we both knew a guy that's he's hooked on meth now. And it started with harmless behaviors, right? Like the cigarette here and there, smoking a joint, skipping class, having a little too much alcohol on the weekends, and he would rationalize, "Oh, I'm young and dumb." And eventually, it just got to a point where he lost his inhibition to even pause or say no. This guy couldn't say no to anything. He couldn't say no to having another drink. Couldn't say no to having another smoke, and it just graduated to hard drugs. And a lot of his base was from high school days, right? He just did not have his personality had so many cracks, but he just had so many errors in his armor that led him his whole armor to crack. And going back to your point to the opposite, so good habits, right? You see kids at the mosque for early morning prayer who are 15 to 20 or whatever, like an example. And I've been seeing these kids for like 3 years, and I've seen them grow up, go from junior high to high school. And a lot of these guys are just they're from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. They come alone. So I said to myself, I would place bets on these kids that they're going to be successful because think about it. They're up at 5 in the morning at a mosque praying. That eliminates two things. They can't party before because they have to wake up early.
yep.
And also because they have to wake up early, when they wake up, they usually have something else to do. They're not just waking up and going to back to sleep. They're having some gym exercise or they have some purpose, right? Some mission. And they stay away from the bad crowd, right? I mean, if you're waking up that early at that age, you can't be doing anything stupid because the degeneracy or the haramities happens in the nighttime. These kids are in bed. They have to be asleep by 8 or 9 if they're going to wake up that early, right? And they're still in school, they're still working jobs, they're still. It's not like they're only doing that one activity. They're full time junior high school students with jobs, so they obviously have to make sure their energy is good for the next day. And then I got to know them. Hey, what do you guys want to be when you grow up? Computer science, doctor, professor. And I said, there you go. The good habits will compound, and there's a very high chance that they will reach their goal, or if not their goal, something in the same prestige, same caliber.
And then you got those guys in between who come from middle class to upper middle class homes.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the support network that's in place where they should be that
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah.
They can't because the belly's full.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, and the question is going to come from, because you know we're going to have people from all different spreads watching the video saying, well, maybe well, I don't come from that same socioeconomic base where I have to struggle.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's always food in the fridge.
Mm-hmm.
Mom and dad don't require me to work
Yeah.
because I'm good to go.
And that's the problem too for these guys. The food was always there. It just appeared.
Hmm.
They never had to go out and actually work to get that food on the table. Everything just appeared in their life.
And how
Never
are we
worked hard.
looking at the guy who says, well, I'm neither here, neither there, but I know I'm on the straight and narrow. I'm gonna do well in my life,
Mm-hmm.
but my belly's full.
See, that's a very interesting question because for those guys, what tends to happen to them is that they do well enough, so they make a decent salary, but they're usually lacking on something else. So, for example, as you age, your metabolism slows down. These are the type of guys that will make okay. They won't make crazy money. They won't be ballers.
Hmm.
They'll make okay money. They'll be out of shape, not well dressed. They don't really have a personality. Those guys kind of become the mule or the robots of society. They're the common class.
Yep.
Would you agree with that?
You know, and I do, because they have enough right occurring because they know the benefits of having it,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
but they don't have that push to say, I want to become elite.
They don't want to become elite.
That's going to
Yeah,
be someone, and you know,
exactly.
I'm reminded of a quote from Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm,
And this is from a player, I can't recall which generation, but it'd be the 1940s or 50s, something like that.
mm-hmm.
And it was by a player by the name of Yogi Berra.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
played for the New York Yankees, and I saw it in a movie,
Mm-hmm,
this quote, and it's stuck with me ever since. And I can't recall the movie name, but the quote I recall.
mm-hmm.
It's not verbatim, but he essentially said, "You're never going to have a professional player come from a high income home."
I heard that too with boxers, right? Boxers
Yeah,
always start broke.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. It's that hunger, it's that lack of. Now, if you're someone and you're watching the videos and saying, well, I don't want to be broke, I'm already middle class, how do I level up?
Mm-hmm,
You know, the key thing here, we really harp on the topic of habits.
mm-hmm,
Now, you could be someone who's middle of the ground. You're going to be middle of your ground your whole life.
mm-hmm,
But if you got your habits at an elite point,
mm-hmm,
where you know you got your, you know, someone will say, well, I have a drink. Okay, fine, have a 2 drink max.
mm-hmm.
You're gonna go with your buddies, have 2 beers. You're gonna go with your buddies, have you like hard liquor, 2 shots. Doesn't have to be 2 doubles.
Mm-hmm.
Then jump to water, have a
Mm.
pop. Limit yourself.
Yeah,
We're not sitting here saying, see, the people on their way up, they know none of these habits can be brought in.
yeah,
It distracts them.
right.
But how many times do we see people who make it financially in a very extreme way,
Yeah,
only to fall into those same habits that
yeah.
they were never
That
a part of?
they were never a part of. Yeah, they never exactly. You see a lot with some of these nerdy guys that become top doctors and start drinking at like 30.
Hmm.
You're right. Yeah, because on the way up, like you said,
You need
they
that
know those
focus.
habits are going to derail their mental game, and then they start 20 years later.
And that's what happens. You get so um, focused on that one goal, which is fantastic to do,
Mm-hmm.
but you forget that when you bring the lens out that next level, there's a life around it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a functioning ecosystem of having to deal with, you know, social cues,
Mm-hmm.
of, you know, you want to meet somebody.
Mm-hmm.
If you're someone who's always been focused and you're saying, oh, I'm going to go, if you, let's just say you're a male, well, I'm going to meet the girls after I become successful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you never learned how to talk to girls while you were unsuccessful.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not going to happen all of a sudden. You will attract a wrong batch too.
Mm-hmm.
You might not know how to understand different energy. And you know, in male culture, it's this big buzzword. Well, women are illogical, men are logical.
Mm-hmm.
From my time when we were working, when we had our family business at the store, I dealt with a lot of illogical men.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, what kind of women are they going to be attracting?
Mm-hmm.
That's and my father, he always preached being well-rounded at each stage of life, so you understand that element. Now that I'm at an older age, I see the importance of it. You don't typecast yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just an academic.
Yeah.
I'm not going to focus on my looks. I'll focus on my looks. You know, we know someone. who's graduating the doctorate in his field,
Hmm.
but he's got he has speech. He spits a lot.
Yeah.
He doesn't tie his shoes correctly. Doesn't groom his beard well. He has the beard's out a little bit
Hmm.
to make himself look younger, but looks unpolished.
Yeah.
When he takes pictures in a professional setting, he forgets the fact that I got to be ironing my pants.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a crease in his pants. Guys, these things sound silly when we talk about it, but someone's always watching.
Yeah. Someone's always.
Someone who's going to be saying, I'm going to give the next young upstart a chance.
Hmm.
Academically, I know all these 10 people in the room
Yeah.
are at the same point.
Yeah.
What separates you guys? It's your habits. And that's what we're really trying to get to. The point of the focus here is you do the big things right. The big thing is always going to be, you talk well, you respect other people, you work hard, whether it's blue collar or white collar, you work hard. But then it's your habits that's going to separate you from the next level as you're moving up.
Hmm.
And that could be whether you're 15 years old going through beginning the game of life, or you're 45 years old, allegedly at the end of your best years of your life.
Yeah.
If you've got those well input habits,
Hmm.
you'll always fall back on it. Someone will always say, I've heard, I've seen videos
Yeah.
with females where they say the job might not be up to par
Hmm.
for a guy who's academic like them,
Yeah.
but she'll say it's a dignified job because he's a dignified man.
That is an interesting one. Okay, let's stop it here. I want to make another video with you on that topic.
Sure.
So please like, comment, subscribe. Next video, the dignified jobs and what is the common denominator for an individual achieving respect regardless of his chosen field. Thanks guys for watching. Take care.